Doom is back, baby. And it's different this time. Look, I'll get this right out of the way. Doom: The Dark Ages is a pretty good game. I have very much enjoyed my time with the game, and while I do have some complaints about the game, none of those complaints ruin the overall experience for me, so you can do whatever you want with that information. But now let's talk a bit about the game. First thing I'll address is that many people would agree that this game is a step down from Eternal, and I am one of those people. I am a gameplay first type of gal, so I do prefer the more chaotic and skill-based challenges that Eternal has for the player. Eternal was super fast paced and you always had to be on the move. You actually had to think about the weapons you were going to use for each encounter, and the game was overall less forgiving than Dark Ages. Also, I'm never one to care about a soundtrack, but Eternal's soundtrack absolutely slapped during combat, so that's worth a mention too. Now, this isn't to say Doom: The Dark Ages combat is bad, it's just different. I do still think it's very fun, fluid, and well polished, but it is slower paced and not as challenging. And that's obviously because the game centers its combat around its shield and melee system. You're going to be parrying enemies and beating the shit out of them most of the time, which is very much different than the pretty much guns only approach that Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal had. So for changing the combat as much as they did a pretty decent job. Also, the guns this time around are still pretty good, but because you have the melee and shield to play with, there's not many situations where you have to swap to a specific weapon in order to make things easier. The type of gun you use at any given time doesn't impact your gameplay that much. You could just easily go through most of the game by just swapping between 1, 2, or even 3 of your favorite weapons, and you should be good. And this is the part I'm not crazy about. I think Doom kills it in the weapons department, so the fact that the weapons have taken a bit of a back seat in this game is the reason I prefer Doom Eternal's combat. The importance of weapon selection is something I like, especially when paired with the super adrenaline pumped combat scenarios. Eternal just did it so well to the point where I don't think this game could have topped it if it wanted to. But besides combat and music, I think this game does everything else better compared to the last two Dooms. The story was much better, even though it was just aura glazing the Doomslayer. It was still pretty badass. I do like the levels a decent amount more in this game. It kind of switches around from linear levels to levels that are more open and explorable to levels that include the new playable mechs and dragons. I will admit though, those levels with the mechs and dragons are kinda ass. They are cool for a bit, but it gets very repetitive very quick. So I was a little disappointed since I kinda had high hopes for the mech and dragon missions because they just look so fucking badass in the trailer, but unfortunately they fell flat here. Aesthetic wise, this Doom is incredible. The whole medieval, futuristic hellscape world design they got going on here is a fucking chef's kiss. And the Doom guy's character design this time around will turn little boys into grown men. Also, the bosses in this game are much more enjoyable than the other two Dooms. Fighting bosses in this game with the whole shield and melee combat feels pretty solid. Like, this type of gameplay is made better when you have harder enemies to fight, because then you're figuring out parry times, you don't have to run away like a little bitch in a dire situation, like you can actually hold your ground and take a bit of a beating. So they kinda killed it in the boss department, especially mixed with this game's combat. Performance wise, I've been playing the game on PC and have had no problems. I know many people were having driver issues that made the game damn near unplayable, but that didn't happen to me. I was playing the game at 1440p high settings and getting a buttery smooth 168 to 200 frames per second, so my experience was beautiful. Anyways, I know it didn't seem like it when I was talking about the game, but overall I think Doom: Dark Ages is a very good game. It's got a badass story, fun combat, amazing art design, and the game felt polished and good to play. It was a step down from Eternal for me personally, since I thought Eternal's combat was basically flawless, but I do appreciate them trying a new direction with this game instead of doing the same thing they did in Eternal, but with a different coat of paint. So if you are a fan of the new Dooms, I would definitely say this game is an obvious pickup, no-brainer, and who knows, maybe this one will overtake Eternal as your favorite Doom. But that's it for me though. Let me know what you guys think of the game down below if you've played it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.